Good morning and good afternoon. Happy Friday, everyone. I hope all you boss ladies are having an awesome day, awesome week. It's Friday. As you know, I love Fridays. Favorite time of the week for me. I get to reflect on what was good for the week, what was bad, what we need to work on, and it sets me up for my weekend, right? I'm a big weekend guy. I love to spend time with my family as well as handle whatever you guys need. So it's busier than during the week, even, right? And that's probably why I love it. All right, I'm just going to move my notes from one screen over to the next here. Let's see here. All right, so how's everyone feeling? All right, are you feeling like you crushed your goals for 2025? Or are you feeling like, thank God 2025 is over? All right. I've heard some mixed emotions. But the good thing is we still got 19 more days before the end of the year, right? That's 19 days to close one or two more. Who's got one or two more in their pipe? Somebody out there looking, maybe going to an open house. Who do you have? Because if we submit a loan still on Monday's kind of our cutoff day. However, we can submit a loan on Monday. That thing's closing before the end of the year. Okay. So where most of our competitors, their doors shut. They're only working on what's already in processing. They're just trying to close the pipe out. And then the new stuff coming in, that's going to roll into 2026 business. So that's pretty huge, right? We can still close a few loans here for you. All right. So welcome to Creating Opportunities. I'm your host, Bill Haga, Executive Loan Officer with Rocket Mortgage Local. I always stress local due to my local pricing is a good 1 to 1.25% better than our call center in Detroit, Michigan. So for example, on a $500,000 purchase, that's over a $5,000 savings for your client. That's huge. All right, let's dive into it. Today's agenda, closing out 2025 strong. All right, we got to finish the year, wrap it up, and then focus on 2026. Now, while we're also wrapping up 2025, we also need to be planning for our 2026, right? You plan for success. Oh, I love that section. All right, so what are we looking for in a loan officer? Right? We've had some good ones. We've had some bad ones. We've had some good ones kind of fall out. We've had some, leave the industry, right? I mean, we've got loan officers leaving the industry similar to agents leaving the industry. Holy cow, I couldn't believe how many people have left. Once again, the cream always rises to the top, is what we say in our industry. It's a tough industry. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it is overly time consuming, stressful, right? We're 100% commission. I mean, a whole bunch of things can wrap up into that, right? But moving forward, right? This is all part of planning for 2026. What are you going to be asking out of your loan officer moving forward that perhaps you didn't in 2025? Okay. And then we're going to talk about what's still hot. What's still leading our charge, leading the way in our closings, and bringing some people home. I love it. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Okay, closing out 2025 strong. Like I mentioned earlier, we have 19 days still in this month to close loans. All right. If your loans are submitted no later than Monday, we can still close those by end of the month. That's huge, 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 right? Like I mentioned, everybody else is focused on what's already in their pipe. We're still looking to bring more business in to our pipe in order to close out 2025. We know that you're relying on us to do that for you, and we take it upon ourselves to pride ourselves of taking care of that for you. All right. So that's huge. So I encourage you, if you've got anyone, once again, we pull a soft credit report. So if I end up, you send me somebody over who's already, working with somebody already pre-approved, no worries. What I'm doing won't hurt or cause any harm to what they're currently got. However, it's another set of eyes, another set of programs. And once again, we're closing before the end of the year. Okay. That can be a huge difference for somebody. So I would think that's a pretty nice Christmas gift, New Year's gift, right? A new home, a place to be in, moving forward in 2026. Love that. That's why we're in this business, other than to make money, right? To help people get their own keys. All right. So planning for 2026. I sent out the SMART approach and thought it was good enough to go back over that again. All right. So I've got that right here in front of me. And, it's all about goal setting once again. So this is probably the best, easiest format that I have found to help me plan my 2026. Okay. We do this every year. I visit my plan about every quarter, see where I'm at, where I'm projecting, what I'm missing, where I need to focus. Right? What we focus on is 9 out of 10 times what we end up getting, right? So the acronym is SMART. The S stands for specific, right? So you always want to be clear about exactly what you want to achieve. For example, I want to sell 24 single family homes in the downtown area in 2026. Okay. And then you got to put steps below that. Well, how are you going to achieve that? Okay. So this is kind of touching the surface, but you have to unpack it. All right. You've got to get into the details of what you need to do on a daily basis or a weekly basis. You put it on your calendar, right? Once again, you plan it, you schedule it, it happens. And this is kind of how I have to keep my mind focused and on track. All right. So this is good stuff. The second letter, M, measurable, right? You want to make sure that you're tracking your progress. If you're not tracking it, how in the world do you know where you're at or what you need to work on or what you need to focus on, right? This is the piece that really provides us with all the answers of what we need to do. Okay. For example, I'll generate 100 new qualified leads in 2026, averaging 8 to 9 per month. Okay, perfect. So you got that down. Well, what do you need in order to achieve that? Right? So now you need to break that down. Maybe you're, dropping stuff off at apartment complexes. Maybe you're adding a mailer to what you're already doing. I know that's one thing Miranda and I are doing together. So if you're interested in doing mailers, things of that nature, I'm all for it. Okay. It's all about getting in front of somebody and getting our names and the information out, right? We're educators, we're bosses, right? So the next letter in this acronym of SMART is A, and it stands for achievable, right? You want to make sure that you're setting your goals that are challenging, but also realistic, right? If you set goals that you never achieve, that's going to hinder you more than project you. And the reason why is a mindset, right? If you wake up every day all bummed up, oh my gosh, I didn't do it again. That doesn't motivate me. All right. I need motivation. I need to see results. So let's break this down a little bit. So an example, I'll grow my closed transactions by 25% compared to 2025. Okay, so if you're going to grow your business by 25%, how are you doing that? How are you going to achieve that? So you personally have to think through and unpack that based off of what you need to do, right? I need a drip campaign to all my past clients. I need a drip campaign going to all my current clients. Well, wait a second. I don't have a CRM. I need to get a CRM, right? If you've already got these things and you're not using mailers, maybe you need to start adding mailers, right? So mailers are great for the rent rewards, right? To go to all the renters. Our verified approval letter is a good one to send out, right? These are touch points. This is educating our community. The more we educate the community and it has our faces on it, the more we're going to be recognized. Okay. So that's huge. The letter R stands for relevant. Your goal should align with your business priorities. All right, let's unpack this. Example, I will increase my referral business by 30% because past clients generate consistent sales. They sure do. And I tell you what, they consistently produce referrals, right? I can go through my phone right now and probably reach out to 10 past clients and say, hey, rates did drop. However, they did go back up. However, we're here. Okay. Do you know anyone? So you're fine. You're in good shape. But right now, do you know anyone that's renting? Do you know anyone that's been in their house for longer than, 4 years or 3 years? They've got equity, right? Maybe it's time to pull some equity or sell, right? Take that equity and buy a bigger house. They're probably, maybe they're having a baby. We don't know. That's why you got to stay in communication with your past clients. All right. Because their lives are changing just as often as yours. Right. I mean, anyone got a new grandbaby this year? Right. So all these things are changing. So families are growing. Those who are renting are in a different position than what they were before. So they should qualify. If not, keep in mind we have a credit upgrade. I've got a credit team that works below me and takes care of all my people, right? If they need anything for credit, I refer them over to them. They do all the what if simulator questions. What if I pay this off? What if I pay this down? What if I pay this down to exclude the payments because it's below 10 payments? All these different questions, they're running this through a system, Fannie Mae's system. Okay, we're just not throwing a dart and going, oh, we think if we pay this down by $200, it's going to increase our credit score by 30 points. No, we're not guessing on anything. All right, this is all calculated stuff. All right, so that's huge. All right, make sure that everything's relevant. And then the last in this acronym of SMART, the letter T, time bound. All right, set a clear deadline and milestones. I will grow my Instagram following to 5,000 by June 30th, 2026 to boost lead generation, right? Another way of generating leads, another space. Whatever you're doing, find out how you can do that better as well as add something new, right? One of the things that I learned when I got out of college, I pretty much thought, okay, I'm never reading another book again. Oh my God, I've read so much, I think my brain's fried. And I was thinking, okay, well, education stops. No, it never stops. You're constantly learning, right? Someone else is doing something better. Someone's always doing something that you're probably not doing. Okay. So it's all these things within your business that you need to put together and plan and once again put on your calendar. All right, you got to schedule these things. So that's the SMART acronym. All right, to planning. Love that. Love it, love it, love it. I have it handy because I use it. All right, I thought it was great. All right, so next thing. Let's see where we're at. All right, so that's planning for 2026. Let's move on to what are you looking for in a loan officer come 2026? That's a good one. It's always a good one. I love it, right? Because we're not always 100%, right? I mean, there's times that life hits you. You got something else going on. You're doing 10 things at one time, like we're mostly doing. right? Sometimes I don't get to that text within a couple minutes. I try, I do my best, but it's not 100%. So these are things that I'm also looking at my business and breaking them down and saying, hey, where could I have been better? Right? Because I want to be better in 2026. All right. That's my goal, right? I want to be your loan officer. I want you to send me all your clients and refer them to me knowing that the trust is there, the integrity is there, the communication's there, right? All the important things that make up a good loan officer, right? So communication. How's your loan officer communicating now? Do you feel like that when they're communicating the right information? Are they giving off good vibes? Right? This is a very emotional time period, right? They say that what are the 3 hardest things to go through in life? Well, I know that buying a house is 3rd on the list. I won't mention the other 2. I'll let you look that up. But buying a house is number 3 on the list. Okay? The most stressful things to do in life. Okay? No one knows what the process is about because they don't teach us any of this stuff in school. So it's money, right? There's a lot of things going on, and it's overwhelming for some people, right? We all deal with things differently, right? Our emotions come out of us in different ways. All right. So is your loan officer giving off good vibes? Is everything always on the uplift? Everyone's smiling and everything's great, right? So ask yourself some of these questions. How quickly is your loan officer replying back to you and your clients? Right? That's important. If you've got a loan officer who you're sending a text message to or calling and leaving a message and you don't hear from them until the end of the day or the next day, I understand those situations can happen based off of, a fire going on a closing that's got you wrapped up. But I mean, once again, what's it take? Hey, I'm tied up on a file. I'll chat with you once I can. I don't know. What was that? 5-10 seconds? Okay. So these are all the things that we try to pride ourselves on. All right. Availability. Do you want your loan officer to be more accessible in the evenings and weekends? Right. This is one of the things that I pride my business on because my phone's always on. My laptop's always within reach. People always say, well, Bill, how in the world do you live a life like that? Well, it's not too bad because I'm doing other things. And then when you need something, then I'm stopping, taking care of it. Right. So just know that my time is precious. Okay. I've got a family too, got grandbabies. I've got all that too. So when we are reaching out, let's make sure that, it's all for the good reasons. Okay. Awesome. All right. Next thing, closings. Is your loan officer making sure to meet all your closing dates per your purchase contracts? I mean, if you're blowing closing dates, nothing good from there, right? No referrals. People are upset. Emotions are high. No one wants any of that. All right. That is not good business. That is not going to make you any more business down the road. Right. All right. With our new verified approvals, we're truly closing. I mean, once again, we moved our underwriting to the front of the line. So because of doing that, we're closing loans in 15, 20 days, which is huge. And we'll get to that here in a little bit. Okay. Marketing. Does your loan officer provide you with marketing materials for you? I've kind of missed the boat on that this in 2025, right? You also got to be real with your data, your information. Okay. So you can make changes come next year. So keep in mind 2025 Rocket pretty much rewrote our mission statement, helping everyone home. We also With that, changed our logo. So just think for a minute, a 40-year business. Imagine how many flyers, I mean, everything that you can imagine has the old logo on it, right? It doesn't have the right mission statement if it's supposed to be on there. So imagine the poor marketing team that we have. Excuse me, the day that they woke up and found out that all these needed to be changed, right? They all needed to be updated. Every single flyer that we had in the system, everything that had a logo on it or our mission statement had to be changed. So, unfortunately, this year, I know I missed the boat on that. And I apologize. Moving forward, 2026, that's all going to be different. Okay. They've already started, it's already there. We're ready to rock. Those of you who I do owe marketing materials, I do have a running list, but if you could please send me a text just as a reminder, kind of help me make sure that everyone gets that taken care of. Okay. Awesome. Events. Does your loan officer create events for you to do together and help drive your business? I'm working on a solution for this, boss ladies. I know that a lot of you want to use me, but then again, I'm not local, and you want to do local things. I'm states away, so I'm planning, right, for a better you in this situation for 2026. Okay, so I understand, and I think I've got a solution. Okay, so we'll focus on that. Probably the first week of 2026, I'll roll that out. Okay. What's still hot? This is what I love, right? This is where the rubber meets the asphalt. All right. That verified approval letter that I mentioned earlier, moving our underwriting to the front of the process, made a huge difference. Okay. Not only does it come with confidence, right? Because your client's been verified by an underwriter, not by a loan officer, by an underwriter. That is totally different, right? Because the underwriter is the one who makes the final decision, right? Excuse me, not the loan officer. So they're the decision maker, looking at your client before they even get under contract. Yes, before they even get to contract. So we've verified income, we've verified assets, we've verified credit. The underwriter has. That's why we get the verified approval letter. At that point in time, that client's cleared. We're ready to rock. All we need is an appraisal and a clean title. If everything's good, and we all know those come back 7 to 10 days, right? So you get an appraisal back, you got title back, and you already got a client that's been underwritten. Well, dang, we're almost done, right? I mean, there's really not much after that. So that's why our loans are closing in 15 to 20 days versus the standard 20 to 30 days or 25 to 30 days, right? That's pretty common. So that's huge. Clients get their keys faster. Sellers get to move on faster. We all get paid faster. It's a win-win across the board. So I love that. Okay. There's nothing better than calling a listing agent and saying, oh my goodness, you're not going to believe how strong of a buyer we have. They've already been underwritten. Underwriters already approved everything. We're ready to go. How's the property? Is the property good? They love that. Are you kidding me? So that's another thing that I'll do for you too. I'll call that listing agent and I'll explain to them how strong our buyers are. Okay. Once again, our approval letter is just below a cash offer. All right. So you got a cash offer, you got a verified approval, and then you've got a pre-approval. Okay. So nothing better than making an offer on a house and should get the should get the house, right? Based off of our verified approval letter. Okay, enough of the verified approval letter. Our 1.0 temporary rate buy down paid for by Rocket. Yes, we're paying for it. Who does that? I don't know, but who doesn't want a lower rate and payment? Lord knows I do. My mom is every week. Bill, you said them rates were going down. Is it okay for us to refinance this yet? So if you got family members out there like that, have them call me. I love to explain the market, how it works, what's taking place, and what we're forecasting. Okay. 2026 should be a strong year. Okay. Inflation's still down. It's nowhere near 9%. I believe that we're going to see a lot of rate reduction come 2026. Okay. So, for example, on this 1.0 temporary buy down, and this is just an example, right? Interest rate locked at 5.5%. For the first 12 months, your client's going to receive a monthly payment based off of 1% lower than that locked rate, putting them at a whopping 4.5% rate. Okay. Once again, the examples is showing that their payment is 1% less than what their lock rate is. All right. That's why there's no APRs or anything like that in here. However, who doesn't want a rate lower than or 1% lower than the market? Lord knows I'll take that all day long. And I think you've got a lot of clients that would too, right? You got some clients that are on the fence, still thinking that interest rates are, 7%. They're not. They're absolutely not. Okay. Next thing is rent rewards. Is your client currently renting? Here's an easy formula for you. You take their monthly rent. Let's just say it's $2,800. All right. They pay rent $2,800 a month. You times that by 12. That's $33,600. It's even hard to even say out loud. Wow, that's a lot of money. You take that $33,600, you multiply that by 10%. That's $3,360 that Rocket's going to give a lender credit, and that can be applied to the down payment and or closing cost. Who gives a lender credit for someone, especially over $3,000, just because someone's renting? Holy cow. How many renters do you think we got out there in the world? Have them call me, right? Let's do their loan. Let's get them a lender credit, and let's get them into a home before the end of the year, if possible. All right. Another hot item right now is our DSCR program. Everyone knows this is my favorite. I've written a ton of these things. All right. Every investor, this should be their favorite program. If you don't know about this program as an investor, we need to teach you. We need to educate you. Okay. Boss ladies, that's our job, right? We're educators. That's what we do in our communities. All right. We're the ambassador. So once again, combing through that past client list and identifying who are investors and who aren't. Have you done that? If not, that should be one of the things that you do in 2026, right? So now you identify your investors, you got them separated for a list, so you can send, drip campaigns, the DSCR co-branded flyer, things like that. What makes this my favorite, an investor favorite program? There's no income. I'm not going to collect a single income document from you. Debt to income ratio, I don't care. I don't care what it is. It can be 200. I don't care. So the secret behind this program is the property's income just needs to cover the property's monthly expenses. That's it. At the end of the day, it's all it needs to do. So if you've got a client needing to get verified approval, this is a great program. This DSCR program is perfect for investors, self-employed clients. Okay. Because once again, income, debt, none of that matters. All right. They can finance up to 20 properties, I believe. That's quite a bit, right? That's a huge portfolio. So that means that we can help probably 95% of the investors that are out there. Okay. Once again, if the rent covers the principal, interest, taxes, mortgage insurance, well, it doesn't have mortgage insurance because you're putting 25, 30% down, depending on what your credit score is. But once again, there's no DTI. We don't have to worry about that as long as the rent covers the monthly expense, including HOAs and all that, right? Everything that consists of that mortgage payment. As long as it's equal to or greater, that property qualifies. Okay. All you need to do is have a 680 credit score or above and have 25 to 30% of closing funds, right? May need reserves, may need 3 months or 6 months reserves. So always be aware of that as well. But this program will get an investor into a home the quickest, the least amount of documentation, and you only got to be on title for 6 months to pull cash out. It's a no-brainer when it comes to investments. Okay. That can be multi-units, single families, condos. It doesn't matter. Okay. We just don't like manufactured homes when it comes to this piece. All right. Minimum loan amount, $125,000. That means you need to buy a property roughly 170-ish, right? Because you're putting 25, 30% down depending on your credit score. Okay. If you guys have any questions about any of these things, please reach out, contact me. Let's schedule a meeting so we can go over your 2026 goals, see how I can fit into those goals, how I can make sure that we hit those goals for you. Nothing worse than missing a mark. I don't like to miss anything. I was so competitive when I was younger. I'd rather get punched in the mouth than lose. That's just how I was. I never knew who we were playing, so I never worried about that. Didn't care about that because I was going to play the way I was going to play regardless. Right. But man, I just hated to lose. I wasn't a bad loser. I just didn't like the feeling that I got in my gut from losing. So I got that feeling in my gut anytime that I miss something that I'm planning. Okay, because I missed it, right? I didn't hit my goal. And I'm a goal setter and I meet my goals. That's what I do. So if you're interested in planning your 2026 and making me part of that, I greatly appreciate you and look forward to the collaboration. But first, let's close out 2025, right? We still got a few weeks. We got 19 days left. If you got someone who's going looking this weekend, please send me their information now so I can get prepared versus, Saturday, hey, we found a house, here we are, and then all this gets dumped on me. Okay. I don't mind it, but it's a little better process if I can get them approved, get their documents, get all that right away, get that taken care of. So then we can submit it for the vow so underwriting can review it. And what's crazy about the vow, these underwriters are working on the weekends. I sent one in last Sunday and it was done in 45 minutes. It was a Sunday. Amazing. All right. So we are here for you. That's all I have for you today. If you need anything, please reach out to me. I will have my phone and laptop on weekend because that's what I do. This is my job. I'm CEO of my own business, right? And our business drives what we do. All right. So once again, my phone's going to be on, laptop's on. Please contact me if you need anything. Let's schedule a time to go over your 2026 goals over the next 2 to 4 weeks and get us ready to hit the ground running in 2026. That's all I've got for you. Appreciate you, boss ladies. Let's go get them under contract this weekend. Take care. Thank you.